In a verse, the Maharshi has explained that when even in ancient times Dakshinamurthy could reveal the truth, only in eloquent silence, who else could convey it by speech? He has also explained that silence is that state in which no I arises. The reality of your being, which is formless and eternal, reveals itself to itself when there arises no I, that is, no falsely assumed individuality or ego. Therefore, when you attempt to know the Absolute by knowing the reality of your own self, who is in search of what? When you inquire to know the self, who am I? The very nature of the inquirer is the only answer. It is something that cannot be perceived and is utterly inconceivable. If you know yourself, then you abide in that as that which is perfect peace and also perfect happiness. If you know yourself, then you abide as that which is utterly indivisible. That which is unborn and also undying. That is, if you know yourself, then Brahman knows Brahman. The Absolute knows the vast Absolute. There is no second one involved. As the Maharshi points out, there is no one to say, I have realized the self or I have not realized the self. Both statements are absurd. Why does he say they are absurd? Inquire into your own nature, and the reason will become self-evident. There are not two of you. This everyone knows. Everyone's existence feels singular. I. Perceptions may be multiple, as well as unreal. Your thoughts may be multiple, as well as unreal. Your existence is singular. So singular is it that you cannot stand apart from it, to either know it or be ignorant of it. The assumption that you can exist apart from your actual being, which is the Absolute, is what the Maharshi referred to as I, the I notion. A bare assumption with no fact to it. Based on that one notion, made up of that one notion, is all of ignorance, which is just further misidentification. With such ignorance or misidentification comes the idea that I am what I think, rather than being the nature of consciousness. Or I am some form, such as the body, rather than my nature as pure being. Or that happiness is elsewhere, and hence I become attached, rather than bliss is identical with being. To do away with all the imagined bondage, to uproot the very cause of suffering, you only have to know yourself. That which is sought naturally by beings who feel bound as liberation is found to be innate, the very nature of one's own self. And all you need to do is inquire deeply within yourself, who am I, to verify this in your own experience. Make the manner of your approach non-objective. Do not treat the self as if it were an object apart from you, and you an individual, for that would be using ignorance to try to overcome ignorance. Rather, again and again, turn within, abandon the objective outlook, and know who you are. By the objective outlook, I mean confounding yourself or confusing, being in the confusion of thinking of yourself as something objective, some quality, some attribute, someone with a mind, with a body, some kind of individual. Then that which is unborn, for which there is no creation, reveals itself as itself, and that is yourself. For that, all is perfect, always. If you think or feel that such is not your experience, or not always your experience, inquire, for whom is this conception? Whose experience is otherwise? Who is it that stands apart from God and pretends to be something separate, independently acting and existing? Silence is truly being, and being alone knows itself. There is no other to do so. Know yourself as being, as that which you really are, and that which was sought to be realized is complete. A verse that is usually included as preliminary to Shankara's Dakshinamurthy Ashtakam begins with the words Mauna Vakyam Prakatita Parabrahman Tattvam, revealing the supreme truth, or the truth of the supreme Brahman, showing that by silent speech. Silent instruction is the meaning. How can you comprehend silence? Where I is not, but the I still is, as the real self. Right there, silence comprehends itself timelessly.